So today we're gonna make my, well not mine, but the Vanilla Lip Balm recipe. This is a recipe I learned years ago from a friend of mine, Tishan in Seattle, when she had her business. She made this vanilla lip balm and I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. And what I found over the years of making it, it's always like interesting to, fiddle with a recipe or change certain ingredients at different times. But this recipe has been solid as far as helping repair dry lips. So I've used it every year since I learned how to make it, really. It's been my mainstay lip balm. So if you don't have vanilla infused jojoba oil, you can infuse your own. We have a blog post on how to infuse vanilla beans into jojoba. It's definitely less expensive to infuse jojoba oil with vanilla beans than to use like the CO2 extract, because vanilla has become incredibly expensive. So I recommend doing your own infusion, and if you don't, we do have some vanilla infusion available through our site distillaromatics.com, so you can always order some vanilla infused jojoba oil from us. It was made with love. So alright, so there's some basic things you'll want to have when you're preparing to make lip balm. So even at home, I highly recommend having kind of GMP standards for home product making. So I have a sanitizing spray. This is 70% cane alcohol with water. Or you can use isopropyl alcohol as well as your kind of sanitizer. So I've already cleaned all of my things that I'm using, so my measuring cups and spoons and whatnot. But even the tubes I cleaned this morning. I sprayed the outside, and then last night actually I sprayed inside to let it kind of sit, and then I got a paper towel and wiped them out. So I don't always do that with the small lip balm tubes, but these large lip balm tubes, the container had been open, so I wanted to make sure they were sanitized before using. So I'm going to be using these kind of large lip balm tubes. They can also be like body balms. So I just prefer the large ones for my lips. I like getting good coverage, so I use the larger ones. The standard are these small 0.15 ounce lip balms, so you could use those as well. And then we have these like kind of cardboard tubes that you could put your lip balm in as well. So these are kind of cool as holiday gifts. So you can use those. The one thing I've noticed with these, because there is a product line available in a couple of different stores around town here, is that at times, especially if it gets melted at all, like in the sun or just in a warm environment, it kind of just doesn't start to look so good. But they're pretty cool, and they're recyclable, obviously. So, and then the other ones, you can use like a tin or a plastic, this is like a PET plastic lip balm holder as well. So I prefer having these just so, because I don't have to put my fingers on them at all. So those are, the tubes are definitely my preference. I definitely appreciate that we want to reduce our plastic use, but these do come in handy. And if not, you can also use the metal tins, because you can recycle those. Alright, so the vanilla balm, sorry, my cats are scratching at my door, and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to let them in, they'll be all over the place. So, alright. So you want your tubes, and this particular recipe makes about 10 to 15, depending on what size tubes you're making, or about 2 to 3 25 or 50 ml salve jars if you do like a 25 ml salve jar. All right, I also prefer using a double boiler versus having a measuring glass in the water, only because I'm concerned about water getting into the lip balm mixture. So I do use a double boiler. You can have a scale. It's kind of the easiest way when you're making butters or balms, just to have a little scale to weigh things. But I've also measured this morning the different, like if we wanted tablespoons or quarter cups. So I'll give you kind of that part as well. But these little scales are really handy and, you know, not so expensive. So this one is called Smart Weigh little scale. I think I got it off of, you know, Amazon. So, all right. What else? Oh, the other thing to have on hand is paper towels. So because you're going to use a lot of paper towels when you're cleaning up. And then they also, of course, is what you want to use when you're sanitizing various things. Like I just did the scale, or if I was sanitizing, whatever, you want paper towels readily available. All right. So the main ingredients of this vanilla lip balm are, we're going to use 20 grams of beeswax, which is approximately 2 tablespoons and 1 teaspoon. So it's easy to use or to work with the beeswax when they're in these little like pebbles. I'm not sure what they call them, but once it's kind of been broken down, it's easier to use than the big blocks, although you can get a big block and kind of cut down the beeswax. Just make sure you don't stab any part of your body while doing that. So it's easy though to use these pastilles, like I guess little beeswax things. And so I'm going to go ahead and put those in the double boiler because you want to melt down the beeswax first, and then you're going to add in your other ingredients. So 20 grams of beeswax, and again, that's about 2 tablespoons plus 1 teaspoon. And with the little pebbles of beeswax, I'm sure the word's going to come to my mind as soon as I'm off. You know, they might go a little bit over the tablespoon, and that's fine. So just measure it as best you can. And then we want 40 grams of vanilla infused jojoba. If you don't have vanilla infused jojoba, you can always you just use jojoba, that's fine. So just use a plain jojoba or sesame or whatever vegetable oil or carrier oil you have. And but jojoba is really nice in this lip balm. So all right, I'm going to go ahead. So the 40 grams of vanilla infused jojoba is just under, it's like a hair under a quarter cup. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in to the wax. Okay. And then the final 2 parts of the lip balm formulation are 25 grams of shea butter and 15 grams of cocoa butter. So I measured the shea butter, it's about 1/8 of a cup of shea butter. And I got this recently, this really beautiful organic shea butter, which I ordered from New Directions, their US company. They have one in Canada as well. And, you know, I really like the unrefined shea, but some people like working with the refined. So it's entirely up to you what you prefer. But the unrefined shea, I don't know, I just love the aroma. And it works really, really well with the vanilla infused jojoba. So I'm going to see, I need stirring rod. So you can't see this, but the beeswax is just about melted. And so I'm going to go ahead and kind of turn the heat down. Because when you're working with shea butter and cocoa butter, especially the cocoa butter, you never want to overheat it or heat it for too long. With the cocoa butter, which is kind of the base that we use when we're making like suppositories, it's like a very quick heat, enough to get it to melt and then off the heat. I mean, often you can even remove your pot from the heat and put the cocoa butter and it's going to melt very quickly anyways. Cocoa butter melts at body temperature, which is why it was traditionally used by pharmacists to make suppositories. So we've got our cocoa butter, we've got our shea butter, and we're going to add them in now because basically the beeswax is melted down and the oil's warm. So we're going to add, and like I said, this is my first Instagram live, so I'm realizing different camera setups. And we're going to let the shea butter melt down. I can kind of let you see the shea butter melting down. All right, keep that there. So, and I have quite a lot of these metal stirring rods. I do recommend working with, a stainless steel little stirring rods like this, or a fork or a spoon, versus wood, which is absorbent. So, or you can also, if you know anyone, if you have glass blowers in your area, these were like glass rods given to me by a student in Seattle years ago. And they work really well as stirring rods as well. So you can get these kind of cool glass stirring rods if you know anyone who blows glass, or maybe they're available on like Etsy or something. All right, so we've got, it's just about, the shea butter is just about melted, so I'm going to go ahead and add the cocoa butter. And I'm going to watch that. As soon as it melts, I'm going to take it off. It's nice when you're working with the cocoa butter, it's good to kind of break it down so it melts fairly quickly so we don't overheat it. Okay. And then you're going to want to keep your heat on just in case when you're pouring it into the tubes it begins to harden. Today actually I realized some of my stuff is up at the mountains, so I have this beautiful double boiler, but the one I like to use when I'm making lip balms has a little pouring spout. It's kind of what I ordered it as a top you can put into other pots basically, whereas this one doesn't have a lip, so it's going to be tricky to pour because I do not have my lip balm tray, which makes it easy in pouring, but I'm pretty adept at pouring right from the pot into the tube, so I'm going to do that. But most bottle companies like SKS Packaging or Specialty Bottles in Seattle, they sell these lip balm tubes, and then you just kind of stick your tubes into this tray and pour your mixture over it, which is nice because the tray kind of holds any spillage that occurs, and then you kind of just disconnect them. But today I have this pre-made, I'm going to make sure this doesn't get too hot, pre-made trays. So I don't tend to put a lot of essential oil in lip balms, but you certainly can use, it's approximately 2 to 4 drops of essential oil per tube. So if this is going to make, let's go high with 15 lip balms if they were this size. So 15, I could put 30 to 60 drops in the full mixture. But I'm actually today, I've been on this coffee kick. If you've seen a couple of our posts, we just put out a coffee sugar scrub, which was lovely. So this is a coffee bean CO2. It's a carbon dioxide hypercritical extraction. And it's just another technique of extracting aromatics or fatty acids or different components from plant material. So I'm going to put 1/8 of a teaspoon of the coffee CO2 into the lip balm. Okay, so 1/8 of a teaspoon. And then you're going to give it a good stir. And then now I'm going to basically start filling. All right, so, oh, God, it smells so amazing. I don't know. Can you see it? Yeah. So it's like a salve mixture. So now, oh my gosh, it smells so amazing. Now you're going to pour into your tubes, and let me move my notes here. All right, so we have our tubes. And normally I do recommend you have a container that has a little bit of a lip. I'm going to actually redo these, but so, okay. So this isn't going to make as many of these big tubes as it would little tubes, but like I said, I like these big tubes for our lip balm here at my house, for my family. All right. This might make about 3, 4. It's okay if you spill a little. It's either easy to wipe off. And I'm going to make a couple of these little ones for my son and his friends. Years ago when school, when my son was a little bit younger, he had a close friend that would lick his lips a lot once autumn had come and the heat was on at the school. And he'd get that, like, where kids, when they lick their lips, they can get this whole, I think there's a name for it, red and irritated from licking and licking and licking. And so I would give him this lip balm, and they swore by it. Within a couple of days, it was all gone, and it helped him a lot. So this is a great lip balm. All right, the lip balm's starting to get solid. So I'm going to put it back on the heat. It shouldn't take much for it to solidify. So at this point, I'm going to let them harden. And you can top it off. The little bit of mixture that's left of the lip balm, I'm going to top off. Because with these tubes, it'll slowly kind of seep in and you'll get like a little divot in the middle. And so you kind of wait a few minutes, like already the divot's forming in the little one. And then you would just top it off a little bit, which can be a little bit tricky, but easy to do. And then, all right, so basically they're finished now. And you may have noticed, always when you're pouring, you want to make sure you dry off the bottom of the pot so that no water gets into your lip balm. And although I'm left-handed, I can't pour left-handed. So I'm going to make one more little lip balm. And then I'm going to top these big ones off. So you don't need a lip balm tray if you don't have one. Just kind of practice your skill at pouring. And then we're just going to let them harden. So that's basically the main process. once they harden, I'll wipe the outside of the tubes if there was any lip balm that spilled onto the sides. The caps I've also sanitized, so I sprayed inside and kind of wiped them out, and so they're ready to go. Let's see what else. And then labels. So with labels, the online labels, I feel like a salesperson. I'm not an affiliate of anybody. But with labels, I like the company Online Labels. They sell these kind of waterproof or weatherproof labels. So they're really easy to use. I think you can order like one sheet. So you don't have to order like a whole bunch. So they have ones for the small and the large tubes. And you can get, this one's glossy. This is just kind of a craft paper one. And they also offer a template so you can kind of create your label on their site and then print them out and put them on your lip balm tubes. So, choose whatever you want, or you can always make your own. It's a little tricky with lip balm tubes versus like a salt scrub jar, but you can totally make them. I've used paper bags that I've gotten when I've grocery shopped and just cut them out and then put tape, I handwrite like a name and design them fancy and then tape very carefully, like with packing tape, cut. It's tricky, and taped it around the tube so you could craft some labels at home if you didn't want to order labels. So, and then, okay, there's always so much to say. So my lip balms are almost done, actually, as you can see. So here's the tube. There. And it's still too soft to do my lips right now, but I'm really looking forward to it because I've been needing some lip balm. What else? I think that's it, really. It's super easy and it's a great project to do with kids at home right now from school. And it's just it's a wonderful gift to, give during the holiday season. I'm trying to think, the last thing, so I'm a big journal keeper. I have journals from years and years, and recently I discovered these incredibly beautiful journals. It's a lined journal, and I'm going to start using this as my blending journal. So I wanted to include the journal here because it's really important as you make different things at home to keep good notes on your formulations, because it's easy to forget what you put into a product, and it's a really good idea to record your formulation so you have those on hand, or you can refer back to something you really enjoyed making. So, okay, so I think that's it for today. I'm going to basically let these continue harden, and then I'm going to cap them. These are for myself and my husband and my son, so I may or may not label them. We leave them all over the house, and we all have a tendency to vata, dryness, so lip balm's really important this season. So I hope that was helpful to you, and I hope you enjoy making this at home yourself, and thank you for being here.